welcome to Authentic Racing Competition, Round 5 Zandvoort, here in the Netherlands, for example, qualifying. Cars are now coming to the racetrack, and beginning their outlaps for what should be a very entertaining qualifying session. Today it'll be just myself, Jackson. Felix is unable to commentate today. Hopefully be back for the race. Yeah, so it'll just be me today for the Dutch qualifying. Now we just wait and see who will be the first to start. So you know what's going on. Only driver currently on the track on the medium tyres is Magic Alonso. Just see that strategy there. Q1, so tyres choice of course does not matter, but perhaps trying to burn these tyres instead of having to use a set of softs, perhaps accidentally going with the this tyre choice, so therefore trying to burn these tyres so they have more softs available later in the session. Things of note going into this session is that dominant championship winner, legend, winner of the first 4 rounds, will not be able to qualify today, so they will be starting at the back of the grid for tomorrow's race. And we will see if they can make progress up the order. However, their teammate iQuicks is qualifying, so this will be their best opportunity at a race win so far this season. I'm sure they'll be very happy to see that their teammate is unable to qualify. Of course, as a team, they want to obviously do well as a team, but when you're a team as dominant as Mercedes have been so far, this is the drivers that sort of just for themselves at this stage. Because they don't really have any worry about other teams. The midfield battle is so close, with even Red Bull falling into it. It's going to be very entertaining, but also gives Mercedes that buffer that they need. Purple in sector 1 there for quick, surprisingly long sector 1 here. Distance probably isn't that long, but it looks almost like half the track based off of the sector 1 which I find very strange. Yeah, sector 2 very short in comparison. So we'll see what that is being set. It's got the yellow flag in the sector. I believe that may be cars letting each other through. Change this, see if this is better. Can you hear my voice now? I'll see. Let me know if you can. I don't want to be not heard on stream. I'll just wait and see now. I'll keep talking anyway. Other news coming into this race is that Tim is now full-time driver at Red Bull. So he will be contesting the rest of the season for the Red Bull team, trying to bring a bit more success to the team, which I think it's fair to say has been struggling so far. It will be interesting to see whether Tim can fight against the Mercedes. Tim is a very quick driver, and is going to be capable of at least, at the very minimum, performing to what you expect of the Red Bull team. Based off of sort of my limited knowledge of himself and Jamil, I think Tim is likely to out-qualify Jamil. Although I'm not sure, so sorry Jamil, I've just insulted you. I don't know these guys especially well, of course. They're only 5 races into the season. I've done limited commentary elsewhere, but when I have seen them, it has seemed to me that Tim is fortuitous to have hits. Best lap at the moment is a 1.5.6 set by iQuicks. Let's see if they're improving. They've gone for another lap now. Let's see if they decide to complete this. Got a few reserves in for today. We've got Darth FIFA in the Haas, currently in the pit lane. We also have Top Your Team in the Williams, and any other reserves we have Yuri in the Haas, and we've got Toss My Salad in the Racing World, which is certainly intriguing. Now give me a second. Okay, I am back with you now, as that is Sauce My Salad going a bit wide, perhaps letting the runner behind through. That is the runner of Benjamin. See what they can do. So, a big 19-car field today. Only team not fielding 2 cars is shockingly Mercedes, although I assume they'll have both cars back for tomorrow. Currently an easy P1, you imagine that I could not stay out too long, so yellow flag for Williams. So the top team maybe just backing off, get a bit of a gap, make sure they've got a gap in front of them. That would be my best guess. No, they're pitting, so perhaps a spin there. As Nick, the other Williams, is currently at the track, out lap at the moment. See if anyone is currently on a lap. Bo, he is not. Okay, it doesn't look like anyone is currently on a lap out on track. So I guess we'll just wait and see who's coming up to the line now. That is Nick who is coming up to the line. So let's watch him. Heading towards turn 1 now. It's a pretty medium speed turn 1 here. It's not very high speed at all. However, it's quite a slow speed corner. There's a big lock up there for Nick. However, it's quite a tight corner, so limits overtaking opportunities. Legend is not qualifying today. As you watch Nick head out through this high-speed middle sector. Through here, you need to be on the absolute limit, but you go over that limit, you're going to find yourself into the grass, into the sand, and then off into the barriers. Let's see what Nick can do as they head through. 7 seconds split, a 10th down on their best lap. And that Williams clearly struggling at the moment, not on peak performance. Of course, Williams being the slowest car in the field. Although in real life, in recent, oh, there's a big crash into the wall there. For Nick at a very high speed corner, lucky to get away with that with such limited damage. But losing their way through there, I think they were lucky in the angle that they hit the wall at there. So let's see. And Nick pitting there. And I'm surprised to see the limited damage they got. Wasn't a huge crash, although it wasn't exactly a slow speed sort of slide off like understeer into the wall. It was more of a lose the rear end, overcorrect, find yourself in the barrier. Who is on a lap now? TM Ducky is currently on a lap in the Alfa Romeo. See if they are improving on their best lap at the moment. Going all over that curve, they're a 10.5 down at the moment. And validates. So, who else is on a lap? FIFA has invalidated. Henk is 7/10 up on their lap, apparently, but I don't think that's correct, because they haven't gone for a split yet, so maybe they've just finished a lap. Yet they're in 9. So, who else is there? Monster here. This could be a lap for Monster, just starting one now. Racing Point has been an incredibly quick car so far this season. You've just seen it stayed as quick as it is. As that's an Alfa Romeo, looks to have spun in that middle sector. And looks like it's just letting a load of cars through now. Just to keep out of the way. Is that a Haas that's now letting cars through? Is that a mistake on a middle? Purple sector 1 there for Monster. That's why I stayed watching them. That Racing Point has been quick all season long. The performance patch is just giving it that boost it needs as that Haas is off again. That Racing Point was sort of, it was Q3 contending back at the start of the season. The performance patch boosting it has boosted it up into almost Red Bull pace, I think it's fair to say. And they are second Constructors' Championship, so it is very interesting to see how well they are doing. Of course, they've got a reserve in today, in the form of Toss My Salad. And Monster comes across the line, runs out of the ERS, and goes P1 by a 10th. Let's see, Monster here could definitely be a contender. I think we could see a potential 4-way fight for the pole position here. Monster, iQuicks, Jamil, and Tim. Now, although Mercedes is the quicker car than the Rebel has better aero, and a track around here, it really is a big, big difference. And sort of that engine power means less around a track like Zandvoort. Let's see who is going to go on a lap now. Yuri currently on a lap here in the Haas car. See how they're doing. Going a bit wide in the background, trying to get it back onto the line. Turning and staying away from that curb, but that's a yellow flag for a Williams, and that's a Williams in the barriers. That's not been Nick's session so far, has it? Second crash of the day. No cars for a long way behind now, so they are safe to rejoin the track. And more damage to that Williams car. Speaking of the Williams car, Top Gear team has started another lap here. Don't think they've got the ERS to complete it though. Looks like it's quite an ERS draining track here. Let's see. Are they going to continue to push, or are they going to back out? Seems like they're continuing to push here, getting very close to the edge of the track, very much on the limit. So what the sector split is like. iQuicks back out on track now. And a 10th up for Top Gear team. Going through this final sector. See what they can do is through this very high speed where their teammate crashed just a few laps ago. They don't take as much curb, they're a bit safer there. That's a very smart thing to do, but they pit. Backing out of the lap, they pit. So, a driver that has just begun a lap, I believe is, or about to finish a lap actually, is iQuicks. And comes to the line, takes back P1, but only by 6 milliseconds, so I don't really know why they're fighting this one so hard. It's Q1 after all. But they are pushing. Benjamin on an in lap at the moment, so is the Alfa Romeo behind them. Let's try and find, as this is Magic Alonso on a lap now, about to finish their lap time, but I believe this has been a pretty bad lap for Atlas. Going to go for a second run here, after a bad attempt at a first lap. Perhaps a mistake of some traffic in that lap. Now they head into turn 1. Very technical turn 1, very sort of one line. So now head towards this high-speed right-hander, very on the edge. I want to get the car positioned well for turn 3. Now heading out towards this long, winding section, flat out all the way. Very easy for an F1 car to take that section, as now they head into this high-speed right-hander. It's very quick, very on the edge. Now another high-speed right-hander. This section is so sort of, you need to be on the right line. You go off the wrong line on the oh, that's a spin. Magic Alonso spins it into the grass and sand there on the side of the racetrack. Magic Alonso back going again. That's not what they would have wanted. They clearly need. There's clearly maybe having some issues at the moment with their traction. Maybe struggling to get the car out of corners. We'll see. Is there anyone else on a lap now? It does not look like it. The only two that are on a lap that could be a flyer are Wushel and Magic Alonso. And I believe Wushel is pitting, and Magic Alonso may well pit too. As Sam D is our first trialment of the session, retiring in the pit lane, comfortable with their lap time. And Magic Alonso is indeed pitting now. Starting lap behind them though, it is Ashy Boy in the other McLaren car. Heading into turn 1. See what they can do on their lap. Bit squirrely on the exit of the corner there. Going to want a perfect lap, because the McLaren is quite a quick car, so it should comfortably get through into Q2. So a scruffy lap, I think, would be enough to get through into the second qualifying session for the McLaren team. But to get into Q3, they're not going to be able to make mistakes like that. Let's see, as they cross the first split, they are very slightly down by 34 milliseconds down on their best lap. However, if they made a mistake on their best lap later in the lap, for example in the second or third sector, maybe spinning up at the rears or a wide moment, then perhaps there's time to find, as they do go purple in the second sector, although I'm reluctant to believe that. But a 10th up on their best time, so they definitely found time. Let's see what they can do. Through the final couple of corners here. For this easy, flat, banked final corner. runs out of deployment and across the line to go P9 behind their teammate by 0.02 of a second. Now let's see who else is on a lap now. This is Felix 1 on a lap here. Heading into the final couple of corners, let's see what they can do. In the AlphaTauri, their teammates already retired because they're so comfortable with their lap time. Towards the finish line again, running out of deployment. Across the line to not improve on many positions there, only the one. And 3 times quicker, 1 position gained, top 11 now. It's going to be close on whether they make it through or not. Now the battle down here to get out of Q1. Let's focus on this for a bit here, because at the end of the day, these are the guys that really have an effect on this session. These are the guys that make the difference on Q2. The Alfa Romeos, the Williams, and the Haas teams. They're the 3 teams in real life and in ARC battling to get out of Q1. Of Attics on a lap at the moment. Quite low on that. ERS has got the Williams off in front of them. Who is that? That is indeed Nick again. Still looking good for Nick so far, but Attics flying over the curve and invalidates their lap time. What happened there? Was that perhaps an oversteering moment? Perhaps I saw a Renault was there. Maybe that put them off. Yeah, Attics validates this lap. Now to try and save up. Hope they've got enough fuel to go again. The second Alfa Romeo also invalidates now, so it's not looking good for the Alfa Romeo team at this stage of the session on getting out of Q1. In Vietnam, they were the only 2 cars to go out in Q1 and not make it into Q2, so they'll sure be hoping to not repeat that. As Felix now retires the car, Tim retires their car, Bo retires their car, Magic Alonso's retired their car. So that is showing the drivers, but Tim, that's a bit of a shocker. Down in 9th. Oh, they've actually crashed. Tim has genuinely crashed. I missed that. My bad. Where's the Renault? Here. Don't pit. Oh, they're going to pit. No. That's too late anyway. But Tim has genuinely crashed on the main straight. So Tim will not make it into the next session. One of the pole position contenders will not make it into Q2. They have crashed on the racetrack. So that is huge for the front fight for pole. That is one contender out of it. You know what, we're about to get out of this session. And that is Topia's team's lap invalidated. They're going to pit, surely. Nick actually up on their lap slightly, but they need to be up on their lap by 8 tenths to improve into the next session. This one's at 4 tenths up, so I mean, depends how bad their final sector was, or how much they can improve on their final sector. Looks pretty clean there. Not using too much curve, just taking the speed through the corner. Deployment runs out around about now, yes it does. Across the line, oh that just looked like they didn't make it. Did they? They did not, 17th for Tim. So, let's see, what were the 6 cars, because of Tim's retirement, to not make it through. So I'll quickly have a look at your bottom 6. It's actually bottom 5 actually, because of course one person didn't. Only 19 cars, so it will only be bottom 5. Yeah, pardon me on that one. So it'll be an Alfa Romeo back row lockout, apart from any cars that didn't contest qualifying that will contest the race. Of course, they'll have to start at the back. Then it's the 2 Williams cars, and then the Red Bull of Tim. 2 tenths off the best lap time, but because of crashing, will not make it through into the next session. So to explain what happened there, if you retire in the pit lane, you're fine, or if you retire on track, I'm not sure if you press the retire button on track, I'm not sure how that one works. But if you retire in the pit lane by pressing the retire button, your car makes it through, you're fine, you're backing out of the session, just sort of getting out the car basically, so that you can watch the rest of the session. That sort of, put it in real terms, that's sort of what it is. Whereas, if you retire on the racetrack, you've crashed the car, therefore you've damaged the car, and therefore, in real life, if you have a crash in qualifying in the first session, let's say you rip off your front left suspension, even if somehow you're able to drag that car back to the pit lane, the team aren't going to be able to fix that in time for the next session. And if you don't manage to drag back to the pit lane, they won't be able to remove the car and get it on the back of a recovery truck back to the pit lane in time for the team to repair it to send you out in the next session. So that is why if you crash the car on track, you do not make it through to the next session, but if you retire in the pit lane, you do. So that's a brief thing on how it works. Even though Tim had a lap time easily comfortable to make it through into this session, the fact that they crashed it on track meant that their car was damaged and therefore couldn't drive in the next session. Therefore, they'll be starting P15. So if this were real life, they would have their name on the side of the screen right now. Just they wouldn't go out for the entire session. This has happened in the past, and I'm sure it'll happen again in the future. But that's sort of how it works, you know. It's sort of, but of course the game can't simulate that. They can't get the driver in the session, but force them to stay in the pits because the only view of the driver is in the car. So there's no way for the game to simulate that. So it just instead of saying you've got through but you can't drive, it just says you haven't got through. So yeah, that's a brief explanation, probably a terrible explanation, of why if you crash on the racetrack, even though your lap time is good enough, you won't be able to drive in the next session. Whereas if you retire in the pit lane, you will. Anyway, we've got cars on track. We've got Bo here in the Ferrari, heading through Sector 1 now. That's all they can do is get a yellow flag in the final sector. That's a Renault, where they are back up speed again. Let's see what Bo is able to do. Through the high-speed right-hander. This Ferrari, to be fair, its engine is its big struggle as they go purple in Sector 1, being one of the first cars to go through Sector 1. Yeah, the Ferrari engine is its big weakness on that car. So, in theory, the chassis isn't too bad. The aerodynamics on that car shouldn't be too bad. Obviously, it had a dreadful chassis and a dreadful engine, then it would be sort of fighting against the Alfa chassis and Williams. So it's definitely got a decent aerodynamics and chassis to it. Obviously not front runner pace, and probably not even as good as some of their midfield rivals. However, in theory, the less straights you have at a track, the quicker the Ferraris should go. And indeed, Bo goes to the top on a 1:10.0, sorry, pass of Darth Vader, 1.2 seconds off. Felix goes 4 tenths off, so that Ferrari lap time isn't too bad at the moment. Although there's other drivers may perhaps making mistakes on the lap. And of course we have not seen a very quick car go across the line yet, which Henk is about to do. And they go only P2 there, 2 tenths off the Ferrari, so maybe that is quite a good lap there from Bo. Renault, in theory, should have one of the strongest cars in the midfield. Obviously not quite on Racing Point's pace. Racing Point have a great engine and a great chassis, so they're sort of in the perfect situation. Whereas Renault McLaren, they've got a mediocre engine and they've got a mediocre chassis, hence why they're in the midfield. Red Bull with a fairly sort of the lower scale of engines, so a bad engine and a great chassis. Their chassis is so good, well, their aerodynamics are so good, they'll be fronting. So, sort of it's not just about your engine, not just about your air, it's about your chassis, it's about everything the car has on it. And that's why different tracks suit different cars. So the Ferrari would probably be one of the back markers in Italy, however, in theory, a track with as little straight as possible, it should be doing a good job, as that is. Magic Alonso, off on the side of the road again. Was that another spin? Or they're letting cars through there, they're not on an outlap, so that could well have been another spin for Magic Alonso. Not been their session. They did make it through to Q2 though, so they can't be too unhappy. Although if they keep spinning, Q3 is going to be tough to get. iQuick's now out on track on the medium tyres. Let's have a look at what tyres everyone has chosen. And Jamil, Benjamin, iQuicks and Monster. The 4 sort of front guys, as Monster goes P2. Offers Sam D, they're taking a great lap in the AlphaTauri, 3 tenths up on the Ferrari, and 3 tenths up on the Racing Point, although Racing Point is on the medium compound tyres, so you'd imagine that they can go a lot quicker than that. So, let's see if these guys stick with their tyre choice. Strategy around here, it's mixed around here. Of course, if you're in the quicker car, you probably would prefer to start on the mediums, because you can go longer in your first stint, and then you can sort of get into clear air when you pit, because everyone else would have pitted behind you as they started on the softs. Let's see if iQuick's now on a lap. Yes, they are. See how good this lap time is. Let's commentary up. Heading through into Sector 3 now. Purple in Sector 2. They're 8 seconds up on their best lap, almost 9 seconds up, which shows that they've had a pretty rough first lap. Let's see what they can do in this one. Is that a Rebel spinning around? Or maybe just going slowly, hard to tell there. But iQuick's trying to find the corner, could they get a small slipstream here from the Racing Point up ahead, the Racing Point pits. So there's not going to be too much, and it's P2 there for iQuick's. Only 300ths ahead of Monster. So this Mercedes versus Racing Point battle looking pretty close. And Red Bull in it as well, so this qualifying session we could well have a three-way fight for pole. And with Tim out, it's a shame to see Tim out because that could well have been a four-way battle for the pole position. Benjamin in the Renault on the medium tyre is they're 4 hundredths ahead of their teammate who's done a lap on the soft tyres, so perhaps that wasn't the best lap possible for Henk. Meanwhile, at the front, so yeah, Benjamin's lap time there is sort of only a 10.5 off the other front runners. So Benjamin could not put in the fight for pole, but perhaps if Monster or Jamil or even iQuick's makes a mistake on their lap or doesn't quite get the lap hooked up and Benjamin absolutely nails their lap, then maybe we could see a challenge there. But just on raw pace, the Renault probably is not quick enough to challenge the top teams. So it would be an outstanding job. We saw a Renault contending up there. But currently it is P1 for the AlphaTauri of Sam, who have set up on the soft tyres, which is still ahead of the Ferrari on soft tyres, the Renault on soft tyres, and the McLaren on soft tyres, as well as Wushel now goes P3 on the soft. So that just sort of hammers in how good Sam B's lap is there. That is 3 tenths ahead of a car that you would not expect to be 3 tenths ahead of. So we'll have to wait and see if that lasts or not. Jamil out on track, but we have the with them. Our FIFA not currently on a flying lap. I don't think anyone is at this stage of the session. You can actually hear Red Bull whilst we're spectating Darth FIFA, which I find quite funny. It's the rev glitch is one of the strangest